Dr. Peter Rogers is about to turn a dangerous predator into a docile pussycat. A wildlife vet is visiting South Africa's Kapama Game Reserve to check on Bongani. He's the first cheetah in the world to undergo chemotherapy for cancer, and Doc Rogers has to use a tranquilizer dart to settle the big cat so that he can be examined.
Just move away.
Bongani has faced this procedure more than 10 times while having tumours removed from his paw. Recently, the cheetah has been limping, and Doc Rogers is worried that the cancer may have returned.
All right. I just want to check see what that wound looks like now after all the chemotherapy, and see what's coming back. Because we tried to examine him last week without me darting him, and there was no chance. So, nearly 6 minutes, another two minutes or so.
Bongani's young neighbours are intrigued. They don't understand why this usually formidable male, a figure of awe, has suddenly started purring peacefully. It's the anaesthetic taking effect, and while Doc Rogers waits for Bongani to settle, he gets a call. A local rancher on a neighbouring farm needs help with 2 orphan cheetah cubs. Doc Rogers agrees to pick them up later after examining Bongani. In another part of the research and breeding centre at Kapama, Chris Marie Heiner is preparing milk for a baby elephant. Jabulani is lucky to be alive. He was rescued after being abandoned by the herd when he got stuck in mud. He could easily have suffered the same fate as this Cape buffalo. It died after being trapped in this waterhole.
Yeah, well, we estimate he was 3 months old, and he obviously went down to drink, and the water was fast evaporating. And it was actually on a private farm about 80 km from here, and he went in with his mother and the rest of the herd into the water, and he obviously got stuck. So the owners of that farm actually they found a local vet, which was the right thing to do, and by the time they got to him, it was like a day later, and he was cold, and their blood glucose falls a hell of a very quickly. So he was very cold and very low blood glucose, so he was in quite a bad way. So they took him back with the help of the local fire brigade. But it just reminded me, looking at this, because if they'd been maybe a day or so later, he wouldn't have made it. We intervened. Perhaps we shouldn't have, but anyway, we've got him, and we're very glad we've got him.
In the safety of Kapama, Jabu is thriving. He drinks 5 litres of baby formula milk every day, and he already weighs 500 pounds. He's growing at a staggering rate of £12 a month. He would normally live in a large family group of up to 15 relatives, ruled by older females. But in their absence, Jabu has formed a special bond with his human carers. Chris Marie has become his surrogate mother. Together with Scarpy the sheep, they are his constant companions. Between them, they're teaching the baby elephant some basic lessons of life, although some things, like a cooling mud bath, are instinctive. Just a few miles away, 2 orphan cheetah cubs are becoming stressed and confused after being cooped up for hours. The rancher believes that their mother was run down by a car, but there's no sign of her body. Doc Rogers must persuade the pair to trade their cage for his travel box, but it seems they're in no mood to cooperate. In Animal Doctors Part 2, we'll rejoin Dr. Rogers to see how he deals with a reluctant duo. We'll follow Jabu's lessons on how to adjust to life in the wild. And we'll get the results of Bongani's examination and his fight for survival. After some gentle persuasion by Dr. Peter Rogers, the cheetah cubs are finally ready to leave their cage and get going to a safe new life at Kapama. They're an important addition because it's unusual for wild cheetah cubs to survive without their mothers. They will now provide vital new blood to a species that's been weakened by a lack of diversity. At the start of the century, there were hundreds of thousands of cheetahs roaming in the wild. Now there are only 10,000 left. Back at Kapama, Scarpy and Jabu are going for a walk. And while it all looks like play, this is an important part of a long-term plan to reintroduce Jabu back into a herd. Jabu's personal handler Fawny plays the role of mother, showing the young elephant where to find food. And while Scarpy is just doing what comes naturally, Jabu is following his lead, and in doing so is learning how to fend for himself in the wild. It'll be a couple of months before Doc Rogers attempts to introduce Jabu to other elephants. Knowing what to eat is a vital skill. An adult elephant can consume half a ton of vegetation a day. At the end of the day, it's back to the safety of Kapama, where Jabu and the others can close the gates on the real world and escape the dangers of poachers and famine, but not disease. Cancer could easily have killed Bongani, but it seems this big cat isn't ready to give up his fight yet.
There's no real lump if you look inside here. There's no real lump at all. It's just like, you know, see, it's been chafing. This is where we took out the last one. And we took another one out here as well, you see.
Doc Rogers decides that Bongani's wound will need to be protected from infection with a spray of antiseptic. Bongani is given the all clear for now, and the Kapama team is quietly confident that the cheetah will make a complete recovery. Bongani should be back on his feet again in 10 minutes. A pioneer of medical research, he's helped prove that chemotherapy can help save the lives of big cats with cancer. In the next programme, the new world of Animal Allies finds 2 orphan bear cubs rescued in Russia after their mother is killed. And a very sick kitten goes under the knife of Animal Ally Jessica Gower.
There are ways to make it